The morning they found her chair empty, no one panicked. They noticed the coffee wasn't made. They noticed the newspaper still sat rolled up on the porch, damp with dew. They noticed the kitchen, which was always warm by 6, sat cold and dark. And still, no one in the Adeyemi household thought to worry. Because for 22 years, Mama Dorcas had simply been there. Like the walls, like the floors, like the old grandfather clock in the hallway that nobody remembered buying, but everybody trusted to keep time. You don't check on the walls. You don't ask the floor if it slept well. It was 11-year-old Zizi who finally climbed the narrow stairs to the small room behind the pantry, holding a slice of buttered bread she wanted cut into triangles the way only Mama Dorcas did it. She knocked. She waited. She pushed the door open, and she screamed. Let me take you back, 6 months back, to a house that looked perfect from the outside and was quietly falling apart on the inside. The Adeyemi home sat at the top of a hill in Lekki, behind a tall white gate that hummed when it slid open. Bougainvillea spilled over the walls in bursts of pink and orange. Inside, the marble floors were so polished you could see the chandelier reflected in them, hanging like a frozen waterfall of light. Chief Emeka Adeyemi had built it all, a construction empire that put his name on bridges and towers across 3 states. He was a big man with a bigger laugh, though lately the laugh came less often. His wife, Ngozi, ran a chain of boutiques and carried her phone the way a soldier carries a rifle, always ready, always aimed at something. They had 3 children. Toby, 19, home from university and angry at a world he couldn't quite name. Amara, 16, beautiful and sharp-tongued, who measured her worth in likes and lost sleep when the numbers dropped. And little Zizi, 11, who still believed in things the others had stopped believing in. And then there was Mama Dorcas. She was 63 years old, small as a folded umbrella, with hands like worn leather and a back that had learned to bend so long ago it had forgotten how to fully straighten. She wore the same 3 faded wrappers in rotation and a headscarf tied, so tight it seemed to hold her whole face together. She moved through the house like a shadow that dusted things. She had come to work for the family before Toby was born. She had warmed bottles at 3 a.m. She had sung songs no one remembered the words to. She had wiped fevers and scraped knees and hidden broken vases so the children wouldn't get in trouble. And somewhere along the way, without anyone deciding it, she had become invisible. Dorcas, the guests are coming at 7. Ngozi didn't look up from her phone. The small plates, not the big ones. Yes, Ma. And tell whoever polished the stairs they missed a spot. Mama Dorcas had polished the stairs. She said nothing. Yes, Ma. At dinner, the family talked over her as she set down the dishes. Toby complained about his father. Amara complained about her Wi-Fi. Chief Emeka complained about a contract that had fallen through. Ngozi complained about all of them. And Mama Dorcas moved between them, filling glasses, clearing plates, catching a fork before it hit the floor. Present. Unseen. Only Zizi ever looked at her. Mama Dorcas, the little girl whispered one night. Why do you always hum that song? The old woman paused, a plate in her hand. For just a moment, something flickered behind her tired eyes. Something far away. Because, she said softly, some songs are letters. And some people you can only write to by singing. Zizi didn't understand, but she never forgot it. What no one in that house knew, what no one had ever bothered to ask, was that Mama Dorcas had once had a family of her own. A husband named Sunday, who drove a taxi and laughed like thunder. A daughter named Grace, with a gap in her teeth and a dream of becoming a nurse. And one rainy August night, 23 years ago, a truck with failing brakes had taken both of them from her on the road to Ibadan. She had buried them side by side. She had sold everything to pay for the coffins. And when there was nothing left, no money, no family, no reason to wake up in the morning, she had answered a newspaper advertisement for a live-in maid in Lagos. She never told the Adeyemis any of this. They never asked. So she carried it alone. The grief, the love with nowhere to go. She poured it, quietly, into other people's children. Into warm bottles at 3 a.m. into songs no one remembered. Into bread cut in triangles. It was the only way she knew how to survive. The trouble began, as trouble often does, with money. It was a Tuesday when Chief Emeka came home early, his face the color of ash. He walked past the living room without a word and shut himself in his study. Ngozi followed. The door clicked. And then, muffled through the walls, the sound the children had never heard before. Their father, crying. The company was collapsing. A partner had betrayed him, forged documents, drained accounts, and vanished across a border. What had taken 30 years to build was unraveling in 30 days. The bank was calling. The lawyers were circling. The house on the hill, it turned out, was mortgaged to its very roof. We could lose everything, Chief Emeka said that night, his voice hollow at a dinner no one ate. The cars, the house, everything. Silence pressed down on the table. Toby stared at his plate. Amara had gone pale. Even Gozi, always armed, had put her phone face down. And in the corner, holding a jug of water, Mama Dorcas listened. Her weathered hands trembled, just slightly. Nobody noticed. That night, she did not sleep. The weeks that followed were a slow bleeding. The gardeners were let go, then the driver, then the cook, until only Mama Dorcas remained, doing the work of 5 people for a salary that had quietly stopped arriving 2 months before. She never mentioned it. She never asked. She simply worked. She stretched one pot of soup across 3 days. She learned which market woman would give her yesterday's vegetables for half price if she smiled and asked after the woman's children. She walked 40 minutes each way to save the cost of a bus. And she began, without telling a soul, to do something strange. Every evening, after the family slept, she climbed the stairs to her little room, lit a candle to save on electricity, and pulled a rusted biscuit tin from beneath her bed. Inside were folded Naira notes, soft as cloth from years of handling, coins wrapped in a handkerchief, and a small, worn photograph of a man and a girl with a gap in her teeth. She counted the money. She wrote in a notebook. And then she prayed. The children saw the candlelight sometimes, glowing under her door. They assumed she was just an old woman who couldn't sleep. The first twist came on a Thursday. Amara, 16 and furious at the shrinking of her world, stormed into the kitchen where Mama Dorcas was scrubbing a pot. "Have you seen my gold bracelet? The one Daddy gave me." Her voice was a blade. "It's gone. It was on my dresser, and now it's gone." "No, my daughter. I have not seen it. Don't lie to me." Amara's eyes were red, wild with the panic of a girl watching everything she owned slip away. "You people always. You're the only one who cleans my room." The word hung in the air. "You people." Mama Dorcas set down the pot. She looked at the girl for a long, quiet moment. Not with anger, with something gentler and far more painful. "I have cleaned your room since you were a baby," she said softly. "I have never taken what is not mine. Not once. Not ever." "Then where is it?" "I don't know." Amara found the bracelet 3 days later. It had fallen behind her dresser. She never apologized. But that night, Mama Dorcas took one more folded note from her biscuit tin, and she cried, silently, in a way that had nothing to do with the bracelet and everything to do with 22 years of being the first one blamed and the last one seen. The second twist came from the boy. Toby, 19 and drowning, had fallen in with the wrong crowd at university, friends who flashed cash and asked no questions. When his father's money vanished, so did his allowance, and so, one by one, did his so-called friends. All but one, a boy named Kelechi, who smiled too much and offered too easily. "Just hold this bag for me, guy. 1 week. I'll give you 50,000. Toby didn't ask what was in the bag. He needed the money. He hid it in the garage, behind the tools. It was Mama Dorcas who found it, 3 days later, looking for a bucket. She did not open it. She didn't need to. She had lived long enough to know the shape of trouble when she felt it. That evening, she knocked on Toby's door, something she had never done in 19 years. "Sir Toby." She always called him Sir. He was a boy she had bathed, and she called him Sir. "There is a bag in the garage. I think you should return it, whatever it is, before it returns you to somewhere you cannot come back from." Toby's face went hot with shame, and then, quickly, with anger. "Mind your business, old woman. You don't know anything about my life." She held his gaze. "No," she agreed quietly. "But I know about losing everything to one bad night. I know more about that than you will ever understand." She turned and went down the stairs. The next morning, the bag was gone from the garage. Toby had returned it. He never told anyone why, but something the old woman said had reached a place in him that his father's shouting never could. One bad night. He didn't know yet what she meant. He would. By the 4th month, the family was hanging by a thread. The bank had set a date. 60 days to pay a sum that might as well have been the moon. Chief Emeka spent his days in offices being turned away, coming home smaller each evening. Ngozi sold her boutiques for a fraction of their worth. The cars were repossessed one gray morning, loaded onto a flatbed while the whole street watched through their curtains. And through all of it, Mama Dorcas kept the house running. She kept the children fed. She kept the floors clean, even as the furniture disappeared piece by piece. She kept a candle burning under her door each night, counting, writing, praying. And then, one evening in the 5th month, she collapsed on the kitchen floor. It was Zizi who found her, crumpled beside the sink, a dish rag still clutched in her hand. Mama Dorcas. The whole family came running. For the first time in 22 years, they gathered around her, not to give orders, but out of fear. Chief Emeka carried her to the couch himself, this small woman who weighed almost nothing. Ngozi pressed a cold cloth to her forehead. Amara hovered, chewing her nails. Toby called a doctor they could no longer afford. Mama Dorcas woke slowly, blinking at the ring of faces above her. Confusion crossed her features. Then something else. Wonder. They were looking at her. All of them. Looking right at her, as if she were real. "You are all here," she whispered. "Of course we're here," Ngozi said, and her voice cracked in a way that surprised even her. "Of course we are." The doctor came. He spoke quietly to Chief Emeka in the hallway. But the house was small now, emptied of its noise, and everyone heard. Her heart was failing. It had been failing for a long time. She had known, and told no one, because a doctor was a luxury and the family had troubles of their own. "How long?" Chief Emeka asked. "Weeks," the doctor said. "Maybe less. She should be resting. She should not be working." That night, for the first time, the Adeyemi family cooked their own dinner. They burned the rice. They oversalted the stew. Amara cut her finger on a knife. Toby couldn't find anything in the kitchen he had eaten from his whole life. And as they sat around the table eating their terrible meal, the truth settled over them like a heavy blanket. They had no idea how she had done it. Any of it. For all these years. The next morning, Mama Dorcas was gone from her bed at dawn, back at the sink, humming her song, cutting bread into triangles. "You're supposed to be resting," Ngozi said gently, taking the knife from her hands. The old woman smiled. "Resting is for people with nothing to do. I have a family to feed." "A family?" She said it so simply, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. Ngozi went into the pantry and cried where no one could see. Something had shifted in the house. Slowly, awkwardly, the family began to see her. Zizi started reading to her in the evenings. Amara, who had never apologized, brought her tea one afternoon and sat beside her and said nothing, which was its own kind of apology. Toby carried the heavy things so she wouldn't have to. And Chief Emeka, proud, broken Chief Emeka, sat with her one evening on the back step as the sun went down. "Dorcas," he said, "in all these years I never asked. Where is your family? Where do you go on your day off?" She was quiet for a long moment. The sky burned orange over the rooftops. "I had a family," she said. "A husband, a daughter. A long time ago. Had a truck," she said simply, "on the Ibadan road. Both of them, the same night." Chief Emeka felt something break inside his chest. 22 years. 22 years she had lived in his house, and he had never once asked her name for her grief. "Dorcas, I am so sorry. You never knew," she finished, and there was no bitterness in it. "It is all right. God gave me another family to love. He just did not tell me at first that it was yours." The chief could not speak. He looked at this woman he had overlooked for 2 decades, and for the first time saw not a maid, but a giant. Then came the 6th month, and the 3rd twist, the one no one saw coming. The bank's deadline arrived. Chief Emeka had gathered everything, sold the last of the jewelry, borrowed from every friend who would still take his call, and it was not enough. He was short, badly short. By morning, the house would belong to the bank, and his family would belong to the street. He sat at his desk that night with his head in his hands, a broken man in an empty study, and Mama Dorcas knocked on his door. She was holding the rusted biscuit tin. "Chief," she said, "sit down, please. I want to show you something." She placed the tin on the desk and opened it. Inside were the soft folded notes, the coins and the handkerchief, and the notebook filled with her small, careful writing. "For 22 years," she said, "you have paid me a salary, and for 22 years, I have not spent most of it. What does an old woman need? A little food. A little cloth. I save the rest. Every month. In this tin, and in the bank, in an account your wife helped me open when Zizi was born and then everyone forgot about. She slid the notebook across the desk. Chief Emeka looked down at the final number written there. His hands began to shake. It was not the moon. It was not close to the whole debt, but it was enough to buy the family time. Enough to keep the bank from the door. Enough, when added to everything else, to save the house. Dorcas. His voice failed him. I cannot. This is your life. This is everything you have. I cannot take this. It is not everything I have, she said. Everything I have is upstairs, sleeping. Everything I have burned the rice last night and cut its finger on a knife. She smiled, and her eyes shone. Money I could not spend on a husband and a daughter who are gone. Let me spend it on a family that is here. Please, do not take this from me too. Chief Emeka Adeyemi, the big man with the bigger laugh, the builder of bridges, put his face in his hands and wept like a child. And the old maid, the one everyone had ignored, placed her worn leather hand on his shoulder and held him while he shook. The house was saved. Word went around the family like a current. Ngozi couldn't stop crying. Toby couldn't look Mama Dorcas in the eye without his throat closing up. Amara finally, said the words she had owed for months. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And Mama Dorcas held the girl's face in both hands and said, I forgave you the same day, my daughter. Forgiveness does not keep a calendar. For 3 weeks, something like joy returned to the house on the hill. It was smaller now, emptier. The cars were gone and the chandelier had been sold and the boutiques were closed. But at the center of it was a warmth that had never been there before in all its years of wealth. They ate together. They laughed together. They saw each other. And at the center of it all sat a small old woman in a faded wrapper, watching the family she had saved, humming a song that was really a letter. She looked, everyone agreed later, happier than they had ever seen her, as if she had finally finished something she had been working on for a very long time. And then came the morning they found her chair empty. The morning the coffee wasn't made. The morning the kitchen sat cold and dark. The morning 11-year-old Zizi climbed the stairs with a slice of bread she wanted cut into triangles, and knocked, and pushed the door open, and screamed. Mama Dorcas had passed in the night. Peacefully, in her sleep, a small smile on her face. The candle beside her bed had burned all the way down. Her heart, the doctor had said, had been failing for a long time. It had simply, gently, finally stopped. The Adeyemi family, who had once talked over her as if she were furniture, fell apart completely. Chief Emeka sank to his knees in the little room and could not rise. Ngozi wailed in a voice the neighbors heard 3 houses down. Toby punched the wall until his knuckles bled. Amara held Zizi as the little girl sobbed into her shoulder, both of them shaking. They had found her at last. They had truly seen her. And now she was gone. They buried her on a Saturday, under a gray sky that threatened rain but held its tears, as if the heavens themselves were waiting to hear what came next. The whole neighborhood came. It turned out half the street had stories about the small old woman who fed stray children and slipped money to the gateman's family and sat with the widow at number 9 when no one else would. She had been invisible to the people who owned her time, but to the forgotten of that street, she had been a light. After the burial, the family returned to the quiet house, and on the kitchen table, where she had worked for 22 years, they found an envelope. Their names were written across it in her small, careful hand. To my family. Open together. They gathered around the table. Chief Emeka's hands trembled as he opened it. Inside was a letter, several pages long, written over many nights by candlelight. He began to read aloud, and his voice broke on the very first line. My dear family, if you are reading this, then I have gone to be with my Sunday and my grace at last, and I want you to know, do not cry for me. I have had a good life, a longer one, and a fuller one than I ever thought I would have on that rainy night when I lost everything. I want to tell you some things I never had the courage to say out loud. Chief, you gave a broken woman a place to stand when the ground had fallen away beneath her. You may not remember the day you hired me. I was thin as a rail and my eyes were empty. But you looked at me and you said, you can start today. You will never know what those 3 words meant to a woman who had nothing left. You gave me a today when I had run out of tomorrows. Madam Ngozi, I know you thought I did not hear the sharp words. I heard them, but I also saw you, at 2 a.m., checking on your babies when you thought no one was watching. I saw the love under the hardness. You are not a hard woman. You are a frightened one, protecting what you love the only way you know how. Let it soften now. The world will not break you if you let yourself be gentle. Toby, my son, one bad night can cost a person everything. I have lived it. But one good choice can save them just the same. The night you returned that bag, you saved your own life. I saw it. I have been proud of you every day since. You are a good man. Believe it and become it. Amara, my beautiful, fierce girl, your worth was never in that bracelet or in any number on any screen. It was in the tea you brought me the day you could not find the words to say sorry. That was worth more than gold. You have a good heart. Do not let the world convince you it is small. And my Zizi, my little one, you were the only one who ever asked me why I sang. So I will tell you the secret now. I sang because it was the only way I could still talk to the people I loved and lost. Every song was a letter to my grace. And these past months, when you read to me in the evenings and cut no one's grief a single corner, I began, for the first time in 23 years, to sing a new song. A happy one. That was for you. All of you. You spent so many years not seeing me. I want you to know I forgave that a long time ago. People do not fail to see out of cruelty. They fail to see because they are busy or frightened or drowning in their own troubles. I know. I have been all of those things. But here is what I have learned, and it is the only thing I really want to leave you. The people who clean up after you. The people who open the gate, who pour the water, who cut the bread. The quiet ones at the edges of your life. Look at them. Ask them their names. Ask them their stories. Every single one of them is carrying a whole world inside. A love, a loss, a song they are singing to someone you cannot see. I gave you my savings not because you needed saving, but because I finally had somewhere to put 22 years of love with nowhere to go. Thank you for being that place. Thank you for becoming, without knowing it, my second family. Do not be sad. Go and live. Be kind to the people no one else is kind to. And when you cut the bread into triangles, and I hope you always will, think of me and smile. All my love, now and always. Mama Dorcas. The kitchen was silent when Chief Emeka finished. Then, slowly, Zizi reached across the table and picked up the loaf of bread that sat there, untouched since the morning they found her. She got the knife, her small hand shaking, and with tears streaming down her face, she cut the bread, carefully, evenly, into perfect triangles. She placed one on a plate, and she set it at the empty chair at the head of the table, where a small old woman in a faded wrapper had never once been allowed to sit. For you, Mama Dorcas, she whispered, and the whole family wept. They say the Adeyemis were never the same after that. The business recovered, in time. Chief Emeka rebuilt it, smaller and honest and slow. But he was a different man now. He learned the names of every worker on his sites. He asked about their children. He kept a photograph on his desk, a man and a girl with a gap in her teeth, beside a small old woman he had once overlooked. Ngozi grew gentle. Toby grew steady. Amara grew kind. And Zizi grew up to become a nurse, because somewhere in her heart, she was finishing a dream a gap-toothed girl on the Ibadan road never got to finish. And in the kitchen of the house on the hill, on the wall above the sink, they hung a framed sheet of paper. On it, in careful letters, were the last words of a woman the world had ignored. Ask them their names. Ask them their stories. Every quiet one is carrying a whole world. They read it every morning. And every morning, they cut the bread into triangles. Every heart carries a story. Every story leaves a lesson. Until our next tale, keep kindness alive. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to EverTale for more stories that stay with you.